If you've ever been downtown Toronto near Queen and Yonge, you know the chaos. It's where the Eden Centre tries to lure you in with shiny sales signs, where pedestrians cross the street diagonally like an Olympic sport, and where, as of now, Queen Street itself is basically a construction pit so large that I'm convinced they're building a second CN Tower down there, just for fun. But no, it's Queen Station for the Ontario line, a project of such magnitude that it might finally, and maybe and possibly one day, make transit in this Toronto feel like less of a punishment and more like a service. So what's happening? Well, picture this. Deep beneath your feet, 40 meters down, give or take, they're digging out a massive cavern to house platforms for this new Ontario line. And I don't mean massive in the way real estate developers describe condos. No, this is legitimately massive. Engineers are removing over 100,000 cubic meters of soil and rock. That's enough dirt to bury City Hall and, frankly, a few bad transit planning decisions while we're at it. This station, when finished, will link the Ontario line to Line 1, creating what Metrolinx calls a seamless connection, and every time I hear that phrase, seamless connection, I laugh, because right now, the seamless connection is construction fencing, jackhammers at 3 in the morning, and streetcars rerouting so often that even Google Maps throws up its hands and just says, "Walk, man." Crews have officially broken ground on deep excavation at Queen Station, with plans to remove over 100,000 cubic meters of soil and rock to build a platform approximately 40 meters below street level, directly beneath the existing TTC Queen Station. On the west side, piling continues, and crews are preparing for station excavation with the installation of capping beams, which will support the overhead gantry crane. The east site has completed piling, and work is progressing on installing an acoustic shelter and crane infrastructure. Cladding is underway and expected to be completed by the end of August in 2025. Creating the large underground chamber for this station is now in progress at both the north and south sites, and will continue early into 2026. Construction is occurring 24 hours a day, 6 days a week, Monday to Saturday. The acoustic shelter and noise dampening cladding aim to reduce disruption to the surrounding area. Beginning around July 21, 2025, localized water main work started taking place, impacting nearby properties at 1 and 2 Queen Street East. But make no mistake, this is important. Queen Station will be the busiest hub on the Ontario line, moving about 15,000 people per peak hour. That's not a statistic, that's the TTC version of rush hour at Starbucks. Everyone jostling for a spot, half the people cranky, and one person inevitably spilling coffee on the platform. And yet, we need this. And why? Well, because Toronto's current subway system is basically a middle-aged man wearing pants 2 sizes too small. Line 1 is bursting at the seams, Line 2 is begging for new trains, and Line 3, well, that one was put out of its misery last year with shuttle buses that move slower than a kid on rollerblades. And here's where Queen Station becomes more than just concrete. This is about class and geography. The Ontario line says it will put nearly 250,000 more people within walking distance of rapid transit. That means more workers from Thorncliffe, Flemington, and Riverside will be able to get downtown without taking 2 buses, a subway, and an Uber when the bus doesn't show up. And yes, the province brags that the line will reduce over 28,000 car trips daily. This sounds lovely until you realize those cars will probably still be stuck on the Gardiner because Ontario hasn't built a single proper regional highway alternative since, well, the Stone Age. Now let's talk about the disruption. Queen Street between Bay and Victoria is closed until at least 2027. Businesses in the Eden Centre on Queen Street West, well, they're all putting up signs that say, "We're still open during construction," which is kind of true. Yes, they are technically open, but good luck navigating the fencing, the orange cones, and the construction workers giving you that look of, "Buddy, I wouldn't go in there if I were you." The 501 streetcar, the Queen Streetcar, Toronto's longest route, practically an artery of the city, has been chopped, diverted, and replaced with some buses. And, you know Toronto, the bus replacement is never quite equal. They could promise 10 buses, but only 5 show up and one of those drivers is on break. Residents near Queen Station are saints at this point. Noise, dust, endless truck traffic. Some people have actually moved out temporarily because the constant 24-hour excavation made it impossible to sleep. Imagine explaining that to your landlord. "No, it's not the rent hikes that are driving me away, it's the tunnel boring machines under my pillow." Metrolinx has ordered boring machines from Germany for this line. Think about that. The Germans, famous for punctual trains, beer, and engineering so precise it makes your IKEA instructions look sloppy, are sending us machines to dig tunnels. And what are we doing with them? Well, using them in Toronto, where transit deadlines are as reliable as weather forecasts in March. The German engineers are probably watching our timelines like, what do you mean 2031? We would have this finished by Oktoberfest. And yes, 2031, that's the official opening date. Not to be too pessimistic, but that probably means in Toronto math 2035 and possibly 2037, and only after a few lawsuits, cost overruns, and politicians cutting ribbons on empty stations to say mission accomplished. Right now the line is priced at over $19 billion, though with inflation, cost escalations, and the usual oops, we forgot a tunnel adjustments, I'd bet my Metro Pass it's going to end up closer to the $25 billion mark. Now don't get me wrong. The Ontario line is a good thing. Toronto needs this. Every world-class city invests in rapid transit, and the Ontario line is actually designed smartly. Smaller trains, tighter curves, stations where people actually live and work. Queen Station in particular will funnel people directly into the financial district, City Hall, and the Eden Centre. In other words, the province is making sure that the bankers, lawyers, and politicians can get to work quickly. How generous. Meanwhile, people in Rexdale are still wondering if they'll ever see a subway in their lifetime. And let's not forget the politics mixed into all of this. There is Doug Ford, the man who once wanted to cancel the Eglinton West LRT and turn it into a magical subway to the airport. He loves to slap his name on transit projects like it's a condo development. So when Queen Station is finally done, mark my words, there will be a plaque somewhere reading, brought to you by Premier Doug Ford. Never mind the fact that the idea for the Ontario line came after he scrapped the downtown relief line, which, by the way, was planned decades earlier to do exactly what the Ontario line is doing now. We have lost years, billions in studies, and ended up back where we started. Efficiency, Ontario style. So then what can we conclude about Queen Station? On the one hand, it's going to be a marvel. 40 meters underground, designed to move tens of thousands of people to relieve Line 1, to expand access across the entire city. On the other hand, it's years of disruption, billions of dollars, and a political football. It's the duality of public infrastructure, progress and pain, vision and incompetence, promises and delays. And here's the kicker. This isn't just a subway station. It's a case study on how societies allocate resources. Do we build for the future? Yes. Do we mismanage it along the way? Also yes. Do the rich get their financial district station faster while outer neighborhoods wait? Absolutely. That's not an accident, that's design. And until people demand accountability not just at ribbon cuttings, but during planning, budgeting, and construction, we'll keep living in this paradox. The city that desperately needs transit and the city that takes decades to build it. So next time you walk past Queen Street and see the construction pit, don't just see concrete and cranes. See it for what it really is, Toronto's love letter to inefficiency, a monument to disruption, and eventually, maybe, a gift to the long-suffering commuters of this city. But don't hold your breath. Or actually, maybe do, because with all that dust flying around Queen Station, breathing deeply is hazardous to your health. I hope that you liked the video. If so, please give it a like. If you're not subscribed and want to be notified of new videos that are released, please click on the Art Toronto button here. This is the video that I would recommend for you to watch next, and I'm sure that you're going to love it. Here's the playlist for all of the latest in transit news and views that you're going to find very informative and interesting. And finally, here is the latest video. Thanks for watching, and happy transiting.